Two of my least favorite movies I've ever seen are Damien Chazelle's La La Land and Alejandro Iñárritu's Babel. I'm not here to tell you that they're bad movies. I'm telling you I personally dislike them. I bristled at them even. I've learned a lot about art criticism, film criticism from doing this podcast. I've learned that for me, it's less helpful to talk broadly about whether or not a movie is good or bad than it is for me to try to recount my experience of the film. There are always subjective elements, and you can't avoid saying something is good or bad, but simply ranking a movie based on the sum of its parts is not how any of this works, at least not for me. What got me about Babel and La La Land is that they were prestigious releases by up-and-coming directors in Hollywood. They went from making a great first impression with a couple of smaller budget films to being given the code to the bank vault. And what these two movies are, to me, are well-produced, well-acted, decently scripted films, and I left both feeling completely empty. Shiny red rubber balls, all glossy on the outside, nothing on the inside. Most rubrics for good filmmaking don't account for artistic purpose, vibe, sincerity, care, or heart, because there's no way to measure those things, because you can't really teach those things. Having a sincere dedication to your story, to your love, to your craft, that comes from you, from your experiences. How to tighten a script, frame a shot, you can learn that shit on YouTube. Don Coscarelli's passion project, the 1979 cult classic Phantasm, doesn't really doesn't really pass muster for the strict constructionist filmmaker. There are some clunky shots, some silly scenes, some very stilted acting, and a plot that is, well, a bit wild, maybe somewhere between surreal and unedited. But this movie is fun for me. It cares about its characters. It steals tropes and ideas from all sorts of places. But like with Robin Hood, I sort of forgive this kind of thievery. While it has while it has a lot of borrowing and borrowed elements, it also eschews a lot of movie tropes for the sake of a complicated story about a simple theme, grief. A movie like this might not appeal to all movie lovers. I think it's a masterpiece, not of craft, but of artistic vision. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
What were you afraid of as a kid? Like, did you have any like irrational boogeymanish fears?
Okay, I'm going to launch into a little bit of a story here.
Hmm.
So I had a closet door that would just sometimes pop open
Hmm.
because the people who owned the house previously had sort of a troubled teenage son who like slammed doors and like some of the doors, and I had his room, so like the doors didn't quite close all the way or couldn't lock or sort of things like that. But my closet door in particular would just, whenever the wood would get warped or whatever, would just randomly open by itself. Now, of course, the Stephen King collection, I think Night Shift was the one with the
The
boogeyman in
boogeyman?
it.
Uh-huh.
And I swear to you, I legit, my like preteen self finished reading that short story. And no sooner had I finished reading the last word than like my closet door came open. And I vividly remember this. I was at home by myself after school, and it's like I still turned on all the lights. I
Uh-huh.
like went out. I had to walk around the neighborhood. I had to get out of the house. So there's some closet fear, some closet fears going
Yeah.
on there.
Boy, that the boogeyman story in Night Shift got me too. I remember
The
reading that as a
claws,
kid. Oh.
claws.
Yeah, I was absolutely terrified of any closet door left ajar. Even like my bedroom door, I didn't want it open. I didn't want to see
Oh
like
yeah,
a dark
just like see some like
crack.
fingers. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, anything that could come out of there.
I So we watched Phantasm, which is very
Yes, we
fun.
did.
It's the rare case of a movie I have seen multiple times that you have not seen before.
Yes.
It is it fit the brief of Aliens
Yeah.
meets What the fuck did I just watch?
There are so many WTF moments in this movie. So many.
Um yeah, it's so funny like I watching this movie again yesterday, I really did start thinking about like what do I like what how do you even know just inside yourself, not even a review of a film. Like, how do you just know inside yourself whether or not something is good or bad, or how much you like it? Because this movie does a lot of things that I know you could probably go back through our 200 and some odd episodes of this show and hear me complain about, man, I didn't like this movie because it had more questions than answers. The plot
Sure.
was unclear. The overarching world didn't totally make sense. It's kind of stilted and goofy. And then this movie is all of those things, and I adore it.
I think of art less on a good or bad
Hmm.
continuum, on a successful or less successful continuum. I think this was like going to theater school. It's like, don't think good bad. It's more stronger, weaker. It's
Hmm.
not a good choice. It's a stronger choice. It's
Hmm.
not a bad choice. It's not a bad script. It's just a weaker script. And you can then be like, okay, we have these elements that are weaker. How can we make them stronger? As opposed to like taking something that is bad and making it good is like so subjective,
It
and
is.
subjective to the person, that they could then look at it at a different time in their life and think it is good or bad. And
Yeah.
it completely flips. But I think stronger and weaker is a much more universally felt thing.
Hmm. I think that's a great way of framing it because I think for me, I relate to the creator of the work, right? Like I don't believe in
Sure.
like the author is dead, not for me personally, because I think when I know what the creator is, or when I think I know what the creator is doing, when I'm vibing with what I think the choices
Yeah,
being made are, and I like those choices, I feel a stronger affinity towards the film or towards the piece in
sure.
question. And yeah, and I think there's something about this movie that kind of touches on teen boy angst,
Sure.
teen boy fears, and what makes them excited and thrilled, and what they're like exploring in their kind of like coming of age time. And it's so interesting coming right off of The Witch, which is about an early teen girl.
Teenage girl times. Yeah.
Hmm. And this is such like dirt bike fantasy land.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think I said to you a while back about this movie that if I told anyone to watch this movie and they didn't know anything about it, and then at the end of the movie I asked one question, I would say, "What year was this film made?" My guess is everyone would get the answer correct and say 1979.
Oh, yeah. The year I was born, by the
Oh,
way.
nice.
I don't know.
It's
My
the
parents could have been watching this movie when I was, no, probably not, because I was born in 79, early in 79.
Phantasm is the most 1979 thing since Cecil Baldwin.
That's right. And you
Mm.
know that as soon as you see the Lady in Lavender's eyeshadow, you are like,
Uh-huh.
Disco Inferno. Jody's bell-bottom pants
Uh-huh.
on his funeral suit.
His bob
Ooh,
cut and bowler
oh
hat.
my God. The tight, high-waisted bell-bottom jeans with the black Rolling Stone OG Rolling Stone t-shirt. Absolutely.
He wears that shirt
Reggie's
2 days
black
in a row.
Reggie's Oh, sorry, what?
He wears that Rolling Stone shirt 2 days in a row.
Oh yeah, no, he don't
Yeah.
care.
Uh,
No, deodorant wasn't invented by then, or it was all made of lead or something. I mean, Reggie's black leather vest that he wears, ice cream outfit.
hmm.
Come on. I do kind of wish I had been alive in the 70s. I
Oh
really
man.
do. I mean, like as a gay man, it's like a special kind of thing when like disco is so inherently gay. And it's also like pre-AIDS. Like people were just like sport fucking,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was just something that, like me and my generation of gayness, like kind of look back as the before times, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Speaking of sport fucking, that's how this
Yeah.
movie opens.
Yes, it does. But really, is it sport fucking?
It
Because
is
this is
not.
the most boring lay I have ever seen. I was like, are they asleep?
Uh-huh.
Are they asleep
Yeah.
on top of each other?
Yeah, so we've got Tommy is I'm just going to describe their sexual position. He's lying on his back. The lady in lavender is straddling him. Although it's funny because like
She's just
from
sort of like starfishing on top of him.
she is because when you see her, she's upright, like they're
Yeah.
perpendicular to one another. So we
So,
understand this position.
yes.
But when every now and then it cuts to a shot from this tombstone where you just see their
Yeah.
legs sticking out, their legs are flat against their legs are perpendicular. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening? How is,
How do sex work?
yeah, so what yoga pose is she in?
Yeah, she's flexible, man. I mean, I clearly this is such a great opening sequence. Because I think this movie is so much about death. Like this movie is,
Uh-huh.
you kind of and the teenage boy mind trying to understand death. And I have to say, this movie, I thought it was spoiled for me because I knew it was about aliens. I knew the twist was there were aliens, but I didn't know the final twist. There was like a twist after the twist
Yeah.
that was unspoiled for me.
Yeah.
And I have to say, this movie is about, you know, the threshold between
Mhm.
life and death.
Yeah.
It is about trying to understand the realm beyond this realm, not in a spacey alien way, but in a like, what happens to us after we die? And we're watching the kind of the psyche of a 13-year-old, 14-year-old boy try to piece all that together. So I think starting this film with sex
Uh-huh.
in a graveyard
Uh-huh.
is spot on.
Yeah. Well, the lady in lavender, after Tommy finishes, and Tommy is
Does he?
immediately
Even does he?
asleep.
He's like, oh, that was
Uh,
great, baby. After not moving at all.
no, and then just kind of like closes his eyes and starts to drift off.
Yeah.
And then she takes out a dagger and stabs
Yeah.
him in the gut. And then her face like click, click, click back and forth. And then it's the tall man,
Yeah.
the very tall old man who runs the Morningside funeral home.
Oh,
So the tall man is the lady in lavender.
yes.
Now, we're going to learn. I'm just going to ask this question up top.
Okay.
We're going to learn throughout that he's collecting bodies for his purpose. We'll talk more about that later.
Sure.
So he's got to kill some people to collect bodies for his nefarious
Yeah. You
purposes.
got to meet a quota.
Yep. And he can take the form of, like, he takes the form of fear and desire, right? He takes the form
Yes.
of this desirable woman. He takes the form of this fearful man. So the tall man could just lure people out into the woods, being a pretty lady,
Yeah.
stab them, take their
Yeah.
bodies. But I want to say I appreciate the fact that he lets them finish.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why does he have to like they have to finish and then he kills them?
Yeah.
I like I think there's something I feel like because he is an alien, he wants to like understand
Uh-huh.
humans at that level, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does maybe it's answered more in future movies. Does he collect seed? I
Yeah.
I it's I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. Or
I
maybe
think he's just
perhaps
polite. I think he's just polite.
that's so nice.
He's like, no, no, you go ahead and finish.
Yeah.
I'll like it may be the last thing you do, but you'll leave with a happy memory.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say I appreciate him for that.
Very considerate.
It is. So we immediately go to funeral at the same graveyard funeral home
Yep.
area, Morningside. This is Tommy's
Which
funeral.
that house should look familiar from Burnt Offerings.
Oh, that's right.
Same
I was
house. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice. They this opening, okay. So establishing shot, Morningside Heights, the
Yeah.
big metal thing over the gate. And then we see the house in the far background. And then in steps camera left, in steps camera right,
Yep.
just two
Yep.
talking heads facing each other.
Absolutely.
Hi, Jody. Hi, Reggie. I'm so sorry Tommy's gone. Hard to believe. He killed himself. Yes. That is like our opening like
Yeah.
dialogue to set
Yeah.
everything up.
Yeah.
Um clunky. It's but
Do you
charming.
a bit. There's some clunkiness.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever, I don't know, in theater school we used to have to do these things called contentless scenes,
Okay.
which was like scenes that had no content. So
Uh-huh.
like, hi, A and B. A says hi, hi. What are you up to? Nothing much. How's it going? Like very super mundane. Talk to you later. Bye.
Mhm.
And the idea was that you would then use that to be like, now layer stuff over top of the scene. And like this is a scene filled with content, i.e., the death of your friend that you don't believe that was a suicide, who seemed like a pretty happy-go-lucky, handlebar
Uh-huh.
mustache guy, that they are treating like it's, hey, how's it going? I don't know, I'm all right. What are you up to? Going to a funeral. My best friend died. That sucks. Yeah, all right. See you in a few. Bye.
It also begs the question of like, how did they? I want to know how the coroner or the police ruled this a suicide when he was
Right
stabbed in the
in the
gut.
gut. Yeah. I was also
You
like,
could do
what?
that. That's physically possible to
You
end your life
could
that way.
like doing like Harry Carey style, like,
Yeah.
but I was also like, wait, couldn't like the strong man who can like pick up a 500-pound coffin just like choke a man out?
Yeah, just uncork him, uncork
Yeah,
his head
yeah.
like a Coke
I mean, that
bottle.
also doesn't look like suicide because you definitely can't. I mean, you
It's
can choke yourself to death, but not with your own two hands.
no,
At least I don't think you can. I don't think that's
no.
possible. But yeah, I was like the dagger as the weapon
Uh-huh.
is maybe not the strongest choice.
No.
Again, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying maybe not the strongest one. Freddy has his finger knives. Jason has his machete.
Yeah.
Like, and I think once we get to the killer spheres, the knife spheres, murder spheres,
Uh-huh.
much better, so much stronger.
Yeah. So a
But
very
just,
strong weapon. I have some
but the
I have some
dagger is,
yeah.
I was like, is this Clue? Are we in Clue?
I think the dagger is meant to because we start at a funeral home and mysterious things happening that it's meant
Yeah.
to feel a little bit mystical. Like
Oh,
Ren
like
Fair
like
mystical, but not
ritualistic,
yeah,
like
not lost in space mystical, not
more
laser
like Aleister
guns.
Crowley kind of
Uh-huh.
mystical.
Yeah. I think it's meant to feel a little bit more witchy.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
think
Okay. All
that's
right.
what
You're
he's
winning me
going
over.
for. Yeah.
You're winning me over. Yeah.
Um, inside the funeral home, we have, I think,
This.
very stunning, like all white marble
Yeah.
walls. The crypts, the entombed
Mhm.
people inside the drawers or whatever. We notice that Jody he stops by his parents' tomb.
Yeah.
He's both of his parents are gone.
Kind of has a moment because he tells his friend in their contentless, non-content content scene that he has to go inside and see somebody. And I was like, oh, who's he? Oh, so mom and dad have died.
Yeah. So that's what's happening in there. But outside, we're gonna meet Mike. Mike
Oh,
is
Mike.
Jody's younger brother. So Jody's probably like just after college, maybe
Yeah.
like
Early 20s.
23,
Yeah.
24. Mike
But it's the
is
70s. So who knows? Everybody
who
looks old.
yeah, everybody looks 30. Mike is his what, 13-year-old brother? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
they
that's
say
about right.
13. Mike has a dirt bike. He's riding
Yes, he
it
does.
through the cemetery.
Oh, disrespectful. Young man. The tall man is going to school him on that no riding the dirt bike in the cemetery, sir.
We're gonna learn through a conversation that Jody didn't want Mike to come to Tommy's funeral
Yeah.
because their parents had just died last year.
Yeah.
And
Like two
Mike has
years
been
ago or
two
something.
years
Yeah.
ago, I think, yeah. And Mike's still real fucked up about it.
Yeah.
Like he has like an attachment anxiety disorder
Yeah, he
toward
does.
Jody. He
Yeah.
can't he can't not follow Jody everywhere.
Yep.
And so Jody recognizes that there's some shit that this kid is dealing with death, and he's like, it's just better if he's not here. But of course, Mike shows up to like spy on the funeral
He's
with
got to check it out, which is such like a teenage boy thing of like, I know I'm not supposed to go, but I'm going to go anyway and just sit on the periphery and just so that way I'm there, but I'm not there.
yeah.
And good thing he does because Encyclopedia Brown is on the case.
He sure is. Both he and Jody in these two scenes, Mike outside on his dirt bike, and Jody inside the funeral home, both hear these kind of like animal
Yeah.
skittering noises, like
Yeah.
grunting, skittering sort of
It
noises.
sounds like dogs,
Yeah.
jackals.
Yeah.
Yeah, jackals mixed with dog paws on linoleum.
Yeah. Hmm.
I love, I mean, it's really effective inside the funeral home or inside the mausoleum, which this is giving me David Lynch vibes. It's
Hmm.
giving me that sort of like clean, spaces that are too clean,
Hmm.
spaces that are like liminal too clean spaces.
Yeah.
It is less effective on in nature, in
Yes.
grass.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what are they making that noise with their mouth? Do they have mouths? What? Because I did not know what these little creatures were. But I love the again, and like I think it's very strong inside the mausoleum. This idea of like Jody is seeing like always just something catches something like right as it turns the corner,
Yeah.
just like a little flutter of a cape
Yeah.
or something. Terrifying.
And these things look almost exactly like the Jawas from
Oh,
the first Star Wars. Like
you've got a
identical.
Jawa infestation.
Yes. Yes. You are lousy with
Yeah,
Jawas, sir.
that's right.
We're gonna have
We
to
gotta
fumigate.
we're gonna have to bug bomb this place.
Well, we get a jump scare of like the tall man places his hand on Jody's shoulder and says, "The funeral is about to begin, sir."
Ah,
All right. Well, I'll come watch the funeral.
one of the things that I love about this movie, I was reading some notes on the director, and he said that he always used to see horror movie trailers and was like, "This looks amazing," and then go to see the horror movie and find that it's just a lot of bullshit.
Uh-huh.
And like you kind of saw all the scary bits in the trailer, so he wanted to make a horror film that had like no more than 5 minutes between each jump scare. And I think
Yeah.
that is, I mean, I know it's very antithetical to this sort of slow burn kind of horror that is kind of made popular in the 70s that we're kind of resurging right now. But I love it. I
I do
love
too.
it, Jeffrey. Like show me a horror film. Like I want like constant, like ratchet up the tension, release the tension, ratchet up, release it.
Yeah. I agree. I think the idea of with the pacing of this movie, it can be a little off at times. It doesn't hit
Yes.
every beat that he's going for. But jump scares are one of the simplest things
Yeah.
to do because it doesn't always have to be something that's actually threatening. Like in this
No.
case, it's just the funeral's about to begin. You're just
Yeah, it's a
stuck.
loud voice and seeing someone who is kind of very large
Uh-huh.
sneaking up on you out of nowhere,
Yeah.
which is a very relatable fear. Kind of like we're back to the intro of like one of the successes of Stephen King is that he takes everyday things and makes them scary. The
Yeah.
closet, a closet. Closets are not inherently scary, but there is something scary about them if you think about what's behind the other side of that closet door.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna mention quickly, this is for people who are Phantasm heads already very well know this fact, but I think the costuming for the tall man is so inspired that they put this man is Angus Scrim, who played the tall man, 6'4". He's very tall.
Yeah.
He's a very
Yeah.
tall man. But not like the tallest man.
Yes.
I mean, he's barely a shooting guard in the NBA, but he's they put him in this too small suit
Yeah.
and they gave him like platform shoes as well.
Yeah.
But it's the combination of he's got that bob haircut too,
Yeah.
and the suit jacket that doesn't cut all the way down
Yeah.
his arm. And that makes him look so big. So big. I think it's a
It's
really cool look.
it makes him look so big and also very much out of time,
Uh-huh.
like misplaced in time.
Yeah.
Like it's old fashioned, which we're literally going to get like some weird old fashioned backstory kind of thing from him. But it adds to that effect of like this guy is not up to the latest fashions.
Right, right. Yeah, he is very out of place in time, as we'll see, yeah, in the photo later. Well, Mike watches the burial. We see them carry the coffin out to be buried, and it takes, 6 guys, pallbearers, to carry a several 100-pound
Yeah.
body in a casket. And but after the services, he sees the tall man. After everyone's gone, he sees the tall man just pick that casket back up by himself and just toss it like
Yeah.
groceries in the back of his hearse.
Yep. Mysterious.
Oh,
Also, can I say I love a binocular shot.
oh, where it's got it framed
Where
like
it's
binoculars.
got like the framed like binoculars. I think there was like some Academy Awards ceremony where they did a like super cut of movies with the binocular shot, and it's one of my favorites
It's
because
so good.
it's so like it reminds me of like old-timey silent movies when like the lens was much tighter
Uh-huh.
and it kind of focuses everything in. So we know, and it's good. It's just good, see, strong storytelling.
Yeah.
Like we could have been watching the tall man do his casket thing with a full frame, but like because we're watching it through binoculars, it seems much more like invasive, voyeuristic, and it kind of adds that level of suspense, of tension to it. It's
It's
just
like
strong storytelling.
it's like keyhole viewing, right? Like
Yeah,
you feel like you're seeing only you can see this one thing.
yeah. And if that person were to move farther to the left or right, they would be out of your view.
Yeah. And it gets that kind of like shaky thing that you have from like a zoom lens too, so it's hard to
Yeah.
recenter. He Mike at this point in watching this, we then cut to a shot direct on his face. He lowers the binoculars and just mouths, "What the fuck?"
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, "Yep, that was our style that we rolled this week, Mike. You're
Yep.
totally
You
right."
literally said, what the fuck?
We see this in
Correct.
a flashback in just a few minutes too,
Yeah,
and I really one of my favorite things because I like doing this as a writer, especially working in an audio medium where you
sure.
need to be very clear. You do need to reset a lot
Yeah.
in audio
Yeah, yeah,
because you
yeah.
can't have a
Remind
visual
people
cue.
who's talking, where they are, what the relationships might be. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you just can't visually flip back 2 pages to where you saw that name last or whatever. Well, this movie resets constantly.
Oh,
When a
yeah.
discovery is made, we will show you a flashback that something that happened earlier in the movie, just
They're
so
like,
you know
remember?
that's what this
Remember that?
is.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. I'm like, I would much rather a movie go overly simple than have me have to search through my brain pan to figure out
Oh,
what the
sure.
fuck is going on.
I like both. I like a bit of both.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
just don't want
totally.
movies to assume that I'm dumb, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Which I think this movie doesn't because that dreams or that not dream sequence, that this sequence that's coming up after the funeral is actually like some of the dreamiest, again, I'm gonna say kind of David Lynch.
Yeah.
Like it's which makes sense once you know kind of the end of this film. It does feel like a dream sequence. It's like overlayered time and space. Like it has this like it's the way it's edited, it's the music, because we have Mike sort of wandering around outside, sort of lost on like it feels right. It feels strong. And then we find he's going to see his local friendly psychic. I'm like, this movie just made a new friend in me because it just feels a little off.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's in the editing, I think. It's the
Yeah.
way it's edited. It just feels a little like A doesn't necessarily lead to B, doesn't necessarily lead to C in this movie.
Yeah.
Which later, when we get to some of these like chase sequences, that's when I was like, okay, all right, I think we can maybe
Uh-huh.
work on
Yeah.
some of this bit. But
Uh-huh.
this opening stuff, gold.
I love this fortune teller's house because the pretty young girl his age answers the door
Yeah. Hey, I'm here to
and
see your grandma. Okay, cool.
"Okay,
Come
okay,
on
yeah,
in.
come in." And she goes and she is like her grandmother doesn't speak except psychically through her
Yeah,
granddaughter.
love it.
Grandmother
Love
Ozzy
it.
Osbourne.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
She looks like Ozzy Osbourne with the tight round
Sharon.
sunglasses.
Sharon. It's
She
also
has
like I love I love the star. Like the
hmm
grandmother has a star like right on her third eye
hmm
chakra there, and the granddaughter has like the same star as like a beauty mark on her cheek.
uh-huh.
They're from the stars, Jeffrey.
That's right. Oh, love it. So grandma gets wheeled up to the table and he tells, and it also love that he goes to see this woman a lot
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
just immediately is like, okay, so I found out that Jody is leaving. That's one
This,
thing. We're
yeah.
like, okay, well, we're already on a first name basis with who his brother is. So
And she's like, Grandma says, welcome back,
yeah,
which again is like, I think there could have been more of like a little bit more of these characters because they kind
yeah,
of disappear after this
they
scene,
do. They just
which
have this one scene.
again, keep it mysterious is always a good, like, you know, modus operandi for like, mystical stuff. But I
Uh-huh.
was like, come on, give me more, which I guess is a good place to be.
Yeah.
But you get the feeling that after the death of his parents, Mike started going to see this sort of psychic grandmother, psychic Ozzy Osbourne, to like maybe contact his mom and dad. Like there's something that this kid is searching for that modern day society is not giving him.
Yeah.
And it is dealing with death.
Yeah.
Like he is looking to find a way to permeate the boundary between life and death.
And also, I really personally appreciate that this is a 1970s movie about that veil between life and
Yeah.
death and how to confront the distance between the two sides. And it never goes to the church.
I know, right?
That's so unusual for this era
Yeah.
of filmmaking
Yeah.
to not go with a topic like this, to not go
Yeah.
to the especially the Catholic Church. We're
Oh, yeah.
just 6 years removed from The Exorcist.
Like the Omen
The
was huge
Omen.
at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get a flashback to
To what we literally saw just 5 minutes ago.
yeah, we get that. Well, we get that, but before that, we get this flashback to what you assume is maybe a few days earlier, wherein like right before the funeral,
Right.
Jody's tearing around town and I always look up the old cars. He's tearing around town in his triple black 1971 Plymouth Cuda.
Oh, Plymouth. I was like, it's
Yeah,
not a Dodge.
Cuda.
Yeah. It's a,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cuda.
Yeah. That muscle car is tricked out.
Uh, Jody's friend like shows up at his house, this kind of just unnamed friend, to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry about Tommy. I'm
Yeah.
also sorry about
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
folks. I came back for Tommy's funeral." It's like, "Hey, why are you still in town?" He's like, Jody's like, "Yeah, I kind of got to get out of here."
Yeah. This
Meanwhile,
place sucks.
his little brother Mike is right there because his
He's like under the car working.
yeah, Mike's big interest is cars. Loves
Yeah.
working on cars. I mean, I think there's just a lot of like, I'm just doing a wrench somewhere. It always
I
looks like
know.
he's
Yeah.
just changing the oil, but
Yeah.
anyways, Jody tells his friend, "Yeah, I got to kind of get out of this town. This kid kind of follows me everywhere, and I can't be his caretaker. So I'm thinking about sending this kid off, and then I'll get out of here. And man, I'm gonna miss him." And of course, Mike is really broken up by this.
Yeah. Like, I gotta say, here's the thing. I don't like Jody. I don't like
No,
the character. I guess the actor is fine,
yeah,
but like the amount of shot that, like, okay, one, you're not going to stay and take care of your brother. Your parents died like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and you're not going to stay and take care of this kid. You're just going to like ship him off. What? Also, you're going to spend like every night going out to the bar, picking up blonde ladies at the bar.
uh-huh,
What? So like, no, you got to kind of step up, dude.
yeah,
Like, I don't know. I did not. Jody was not my favorite. I know he's the sort of like long-haired white boy, like handsome generic white boy of this
yeah.
movie that we're supposed to root for, but I wasn't feeling it, Jeffrey.
Mike is definitely the protagonist of this movie. Like he's
Sure.
definitely our conduit into this world, and
Yeah.
and Mike is very easy to root for. Like Mike is so
Yeah.
likable. I mean, he's
It's
got
very
some
Goonies.
problems, but
Like we're in it
yeah, he's like
of that
Goonies, but
age.
without the Goonies around. Like it's just
Yeah.
one of the Goonie.
Yeah. He's
So
alone. He's a lone Goonie.
what I like about the character of Jody, like just his not the the character, but like the presence of the character is that
Yeah.
it shows between him and Mike. Like Mike is actively trying to figure out what death is. He may not understand that's what he's doing, but
Yeah.
he's like, I gotta talk to my parents. I need advice from somebody. And Jody, of
Yeah.
course, is not there for him because Mike the only parental figure he has, is actively trying to avoid ever thinking about that
Yeah.
stuff. That's
Yeah.
why he wants to get out of town. That's why he drowns himself in booze. That's why we never really see him be alcoholic or drunk, but
Yeah.
he is at that bar a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and he doesn't want to hear about crazy weird shit. He's like, I don't know, you do your fucking
He
thing.
just wants to play guitar with his friend and like drink beer.
Yeah, he's not wanting to grow up, but he's wanting to get out, and he's caught in a limbo of his own, which I think is an interesting
Yeah.
choice to build a character around. It does make him really unlikable, though, the way he is like saying this shit in front of Tommy.
Yeah. I know, right?
Grandmother says, "Don't worry, if he leaves, he'll take you with him."
Oh, okay.
And
That's nice.
grandmother's always right.
Yeah. Sure. She's psychic Ozzy Osbourne.
But
Hey,
then,
hey, you ever seen Dune? We're gonna play a game. Have you ever seen Dune? Put your
um,
hand in the box.
yep.
What's in the box?
I-
Just put your hand in the box.
oh my God. I
Again, another David Lynch reference.
well, but it's funny because like this isn't a David Lynch reference because this is a
It's just
1970.
Dune. It's
Yeah,
just Dune.
David Lynch hasn't even made his second film yet. All he's done it to this point in the timeline is Eraserhead.
Oh
So
shit, that's right.
so it's a very strong possibility that uh that David Lynch's Black Lodge could have been inspired by some
Sure.
elements of this Morningside Heights funeral home. There's a lot of like Twin Peaksy type of vibes
Yeah.
in this movie, and this is well before Twin Peaks
Oh,
showed
yeah,
up,
very much.
10
Yeah.
years before almost. Um the box, the hand of I know this is a Dune reference. Is this in the book? Because I never
Yes.
read the okay, so
Yes. I mean, it's been a long time since I've read the books, but I am pretty darn sure that this
yeah.
is in the book.
So because this very much feels like this guy just absolutely
He
lifted
just
a thing
lifted
he
it right.
liked.
Nope, just lifted it right out of Herbert's Dune.
And
And
he
it's the
probably
idea is that it's you put your hand in the box and it gives you psychic pain. Like it doesn't
mm,
leave a scar. It's not physical pain, but it is meant to teach you that pain is in the mind. Fear is the mind killer, which
mhm.
literally, psychic grandmother's granddaughter is like, you know, says everything. Like they're like, okay, what is copyrighted? We're going to say almost that.
Yeah. Yep.
So we can't say fear is the mind killer, but we're like, it's all in your mind. It's all in your
Yeah.
mind, Michael.
Well, yeah, he says when he's like, "Give me back my hand," the daughter or granddaughter says, "When he stops fearing, it lets him go. Fear is the killer. That's what grandmother wants you to learn."
Mm-hmm.
This scene is so terrific because of one, it's lifting this Dune thing, but also because the acting, especially by this girl,
Yeah,
it is the most like I asked my neighbor's daughter if she wanted to be in a movie. She's never
absolutely.
acted before, and I
No.
said, just read the lines, sit
Yeah.
up straight, and
Yeah.
articulate the lines, and
Like
you'll
you
be
can tell
fine.
she's kind of like there's a thing that people do when they're on stage or on camera and they're not necessarily experienced actors, not trained, but just like experiences. There's like you can kind of see it in I always look at the corners of their mouths.
Uh-huh.
There's like kind of a tightness that's like a smile or a grimace. And it's knowing that people are looking at them in a very intense way on stage or on camera. And this
Uh-huh.
girl has it all over her face.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's a thing that like I think it's a very natural human thing of being asked to speak at the front of the class. And you're kind of embarrassed about a lot of people looking at you. And so you want to smile to put on a brave face,
Uh-huh.
but it's not necessarily a happy smile. It's a masking smile. And
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh, this girl, it's like I can see it in her face. She's got that first time actor grimace.
The writing here too, because they do the very cheap trick of making the box suddenly appear. So one, when the box suddenly appears, it just kind of like boop on the table,
Ooh, just sort of
and
fades in.
he goes, "Wow, how'd you do that? Put your hand in the black box." It's
What?
just, and then at the end, she's like, "It was all in your mind." When he takes his hand out, and he goes, "Oh, yeah." And then he just kind of stands up without saying anything, places a dollar on the box, and then the whole thing like bloop
The box
disappears.
and the dollar disappears.
Yeah. And then he walks out, and then grandmother just laughs
Just
silently.
cackles. Yeah.
Okay, Reggie.
Oh,
Reggie
Reggie.
drives an ice
Reggie's
cream truck. He has a bow tie and a black leather vest.
he is balding with a ponytail.
Hmm.
Come on. I mean, I've not seen any of the sequels, but I did a little. I just kind of read the synopses of some of them. I was like, thank God this Reggie keeps going in the sequels. This is
Yeah.
great. This is
Reggie
great.
Reggie is a person who's supposed to die in a horror movie.
Absolutely.
He 100% is supposed to die. He also, I think even for 1979, like his general makeup is a little creepy or weird
Well, he's
because
got
it's
that
man who
like
drives ice cream truck.
man who drives ice cream truck. Okay, so that's a little bit weird, but he's got that like, was it Michael Ironside? Is that the actor I'm thinking of? He's got that kind of like gruff face.
Uh-huh.
Like he's got character actor face,
Yeah.
which compared to like pretty Jody, who we're supposed to be rooting for, but we all know Reggie's the guy that like one, like he plays mean guitar. Like
Yeah.
he's the like funny sidekick of the best of the main character. He's the
Yeah.
sidekick character. But we all know that that's the best one.
Yeah.
And then it's only taken us this long to be like, oh, we should start making our sidekicks our protagonists.
Yeah. 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 Well, when he shows up to Jody's house, he and Jody have a jam session on the
Oh
front
my God.
porch.
Was it sitting on the dock at midnight?
Yeah.
Sitting on the dock of the bay at midnight, watching the noontide. And then they have a little jam breakdown. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Straight boys are wild.
But right at the end of the scene, Reggie goes to tune his guitar with Chekhov's tuning fork.
Oh my God. Is it?
Not
Is it
really,
Chekhov?
but
No,
it,
it's sort
but
of, kind of.
it's just an important detail that he, as a musician, understands how tuning forks work.
Vibrations. It's
Uh-huh.
all about vibrations, man.
We're hot as love, you
Listen,
know. Yeah.
like if you could vibrate the Pentagon, we could lift that up in the air with vibrations and send it to another world, man.
Okay, there's this brief scene. I don't know how necessary the scene was, but I think I wanted more of this moment. But the girl, the grandmother's daughter, the granddaughter,
Yes. Yes. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
she goes to the funeral parlor.
She's
We
got some flowers.
She's got some flowers. She walks down that portal, finds a door at the end. This is where I'm like, this is so Twin Peaksy
Yeah.
feeling. And
Yeah.
she opens the door, and bright white light floods her face, and then just a wide shot of the whole funeral home, and we hear her scream.
Yeah.
The end. Like that's her bit. I mean, we get some reference that maybe she lives at the end of the movie.
We?
We do, because at the end, when Reggie shows up at the funeral home, he
Oh,
was
because he's
like,
like, we found the girls and we found some other
we
girls.
found these
Okay.
girls and some other girls that I didn't know, and we let them all loose.
Okay. Okay.
So
I
I
mean,
didn't clock that before. I clocked that this viewing. It's so brief.
I thought that they were aliens as well. Like, but a different kind of aliens.
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Like I thought that the grandmother, like the fortune teller and the fortune
Oh
teller's
yeah.
daughter are like aliens, but just a different kind.
Oh, that's interesting. Like almost like the pussy cake thing where it's like there's two different alien races maybe
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
combating
yeah,
on
yeah.
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like bad aliens and good aliens, and like the bad aliens have been here collecting human bodies for 200 years, and the good aliens have been like pretending. It's very like it's very Carnival, you know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I definitely well, my take on this was just simply that upon learning this story, psychically
Yeah.
they know that Mike is telling the truth, and
And
that's
there's
very
something
curious.
is wrong at the funeral home.
And so she wants to go see what's
Okay.
happening. That
Okay.
was my guess, that she was just investigating and then did not know the scope of, because Mike didn't know the scope of how bad it
That makes
is.
sense. That makes
That's my
sense.
guess. Okay, Jody goes to Dune's Cantina.
Oh my God. Again, a reference to Dune.
Uh-huh.
Dune's Cantina.
And again, the number of times we see Jody go do something, and then 2 seconds later, you see Mike come into the screen, like
Yeah,
tracking him.
which is adorable,
Uh-huh.
but starts to break down
Yes.
when you realize that Jody is driving.
Yep.
There's a couple of moments where it's like Jody pulls up in his muscle car. Two
Yeah.
seconds later, Mike walks up. I'm like, how'd you, what?
I I think they don't establish it in any of the shots, but I think the explanation is
He
that
has his
Mike
dirt
has a
bike.
dirt bike.
Yeah. So he's just following behind
But I think they only had the dirt bike for, I think they
a
only
day.
could
Yeah,
rent it for a
we only
day.
got that for a day. So we got it for one sequence in the graveyard. We got to
And
get
then
that
that
thing
was it.
back to the rental store.
I failed to mention in the graveyard when he sees Tall Man
Oh
lift that
yeah.
thing, he was like, "I got to get out of here," and he hops on his motorbike to race away. Well, he makes all this noise. Tall Man turns around, sees him, psychically flips the motorbike, sending him
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah.
So the Tall Man knows that boy is there.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. Yes, Daddy.
Jody meets a lady in lavender,
Oh yes.
and they
They
hit it
have
off.
they're having some drinks. They leave the bar. They're like, well, I guess we could what is there to do in this town?
It That's what there's to do in
We're
this
gonna do
town is
it.
it.
Are we gonna go all the way?
We're gonna go all the way, baby, in the only place that you really can do that sort of thing here, the graveyard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they go up to the graveyard. This is such a as a preteen boy in like the 80s, the
Oh my God,
late
Jeffrey.
80s. The number of times I would watch these kind of, especially like it's in like teen comedy movies from the early
Hmm.
80s where boobies are a requirement. You have
Oh
to
yeah.
show titties, and you also have to get like very hot, popular female like models and actresses, whatever.
Right.
But a lot of these, they always had body doubles. So
Yeah.
anytime you saw
Yeah. They don't want to do
nudity,
a topless scene. Yeah.
yeah, I'd be like, oh my God, Heather Thomas is in this movie and she gets naked. And then you would see it and you're like, no, the only time you see boobies on her character is just a shot of just
Yeah. I
from
know. It's just
neck
yeah,
to belly
from
button
there to there.
and then boobies on the
And
screen.
and it is and you're like, those bolt-ons don't fit that actress's body. My favorite thing is when the boobs come out. Jody says, wow. Mike says, wow. Is this something straight people do?
Oh
Like,
God,
do straight boys and men just every time you see boobs, you just go, wow.
I mean internally, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Just in your head, like you learn as
Yes.
when
Nice.
you're Jody's age, you should know better than to say it out loud. When you're Mike's
Wow.
age, hopefully you're just seeing it on like a magazine
Yeah.
or these days the
I can
internet or
understand at
whatever.
Mike's
But
age because you're like, oh, it's something oh
yeah,
my God, I'm seeing boobs in real life.
yeah,
Is that a thing? I don't know. Like in the gay world, it's a little bit different because we got this, just a little different
yeah,
power sexual body dynamics,
yeah.
You're like, oh,
Uh,
you got nuts, I got nuts. I don't know. Let's
I
get
mean,
nuts.
it's the same reason why like when I saw that 71 Plymouth, I'm like, wow, that just
Wow.
it's just some things are
Wow.
just cool, man.
Yeah.
Old
I
muscle cars are cool. Boobies are cool.
okay.
Yeah.
I think you should make a list, Jeffrey. What
Of
is
all the
cool?
things that are cool, the
I
things
think
that
you should
make
make
me say wow.
yes, make a definitive list.
Yeah,
And then turn them
3-point
into
shots.
Pokemons. Turn them
Wow.
into Pokemons.
Yeah. I just love the titty Pokemon.
Lick a titty.
Oh God. Yes, the cut to both brothers saying wow is so
Wow.
good.
I died.
It's so funny. And Mike, while spying from several feet away on his brother, hears these animal grunting
Here's
noises
that
again.
weird skittery. Yeah.
And then that Jawa comes after him. Now, this dumbass Jawa should not be attacking this child
No.
because the whole point of the tall man luring Jody into the woods is
Yeah.
to kill him, and you fucked it all up because you alerted Mike, who then goes screaming down the hill
Yep.
past his brother trying to have
Yes, I know. I
sex
love it.
on a tombstone.
While
It
his brother literally has panties in his teeth. The panties and the teeth choice, I could have done without. I'm just saying.
uh-huh.
Because I'm like, what? This is, again, how do this is whatever sex act is happening here. This did not come up. What?
Yeah. So Jody has to run off, chase his, throw his pants back on, chase Mike down. This line here, when he catches up to Mike, Mike's like, something's out there. Tried to give us the same thing I think I heard
It
at
was
the
brown
funeral.
and small and low to the ground.
It was little and brown and low to the ground.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like a gopher in heat. It wasn't a gopher.
I love it. Oh my God.
Of course, the lady in lavender is fucked off.
Yeah. Disappeared.
We have a couple dream sequences. Mike has a dream
Oh,
sequence.
this is dope. Like
Please.
I think
Yes.
this is like this dream sequence is so fucking dope. And
Yeah.
like one of the reasons why I think I read that a lot of this movie was inspired by a dream,
Mhm.
as quite a few horror movies are. Because people who make horror movies, there's something about the subconscious that like it works itself out, and you have these vivid dreams, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like there's something to this.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
idea of like the tall man above a grave with Mike in bed, and then like zombie hands.
Yes. Yeah, and it's so like these there's a lot of moments of symmetry in this movie.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
the marble hallways, the scene of the when Reggie puts both hands on the two vibrating pipes at the
Yeah.
portal.
Oh yeah.
There's the scene when like late when the door blows open at the
Yeah.
house when the tall man comes to get him and goes, boy.
Yeah.
And then this scene here of Mike's bedspread on top of a grave because it goes from him sleeping into his bed. Camera pans away, perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
There's
Uh,
something unnatural about symmetry.
yeah,
Like I think people recognize it. It's just not there's like again, back to like theater school, you learned like when you're building a set, like symmetrical sets don't like they look boring.
yeah,
There's they don't have life to them.
yeah,
Like there's like it's just something about it that's like too matchy, too perfect that just feels unnatural because nature is not usually symmetrical.
yeah. Uh, we have a couple more scenes where like there's a scene where like something comes and shakes Jody's car in the garage while
Yeah.
Mike is working under it.
Yeah. More Jawas.
More job.
Lady, you got a Jawa infestation.
Yep. But fortunately, because the car's there, that also means Jody's home, and Jody comes out in the garage. He helps Mike out from underneath the car, and still doesn't believe
Yeah.
his brother.
Why would you?
Yeah, why would I mean? It's like you are going through a thing, child,
Yeah.
and
Thought you saw something that you can't describe.
yeah,
You clearly are dealing with some attachment stuff.
yeah.
You
But
know.
Jody, again, like we said, like just he's not there to be present for any of this. He's not there to
No.
like hold any of this for Mike.
No.
So Mike just sneaks out that night, arms himself with a Rambo knife and a
Dude,
cross
that knife, I
pendant.
was like, ow, kid. It's quite a blade you got there that
Boy,
you're gonna
that
put into your brown corduroy and
uh-huh.
tube socked pant leg.
There was nothing more straight boy 70s and 80s behavior
Yeah.
than being excited by the knife store at the
Oh my
mall.
God. Oh yeah.
Like any type of like Bowie knife or the Rambo knife was what everyone
Oh,
wanted.
yeah. No, absolutely. Does that make you go, wow, Jeffrey?
Yes, Rambo knife at
Wow.
a mall
Rambo
knife
knife.
store.
Check.
Wow.
Check.
Yeah. Boobies, Rambo knife, cars.
Muscle cars. Yep. Dirt
Three
bikes.
point 3 point shots
Yep.
in basketball. Yeah,
Yep.
those are solid
Guitar
wows.
solos.
I'm not as big of a music person, but I will definitely give you like a full Eddie Van Halen. Yeah.
Jamming out. Wow.
Breakdancing. Breakdancing makes me go, wow.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. He sneaks in through the basement and then into the coffin showroom. Some man comes in, I'm guessing
Yeah.
like hired security at this place.
They kind of call him the caretaker, was the
Okay.
name that I found for him, which I think is an appropriate name. But he's
That's
also
yeah.
clearly human.
Yeah.
We think he's human. I mean, in this movie, anybody's guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Human, alien, psychic, other question mark.
Mike evades him by hiding in one of the coffins in the showroom, and he, noticing that it's the one coffin that's closed,
Yeah,
starts
goes to
inching his
investigate.
way towards it. But the tall man interrupts, being like, "Hey, you got, I don't know." He doesn't say anything, but you assume, "I want you to do something else
Yeah,
here."
I love this shot of
Yeah.
Mike's eyes peeping through the coffin lid.
It's
There's
so great. He
something
uses
about
a
this.
cigarette lighter to prop
Yeah,
it open. And
yeah.
it leaves that, yeah,
It just there's something about it that is very, I don't know. I really enjoy it. It's just good storytelling. See,
yeah,
strong storytelling.
yeah. Very good. Very good visual storytelling. Okay, so then Mike sneaks out. He is walking through the halls, and then that caretaker catches
Yeah,
him. Oh, not before that happens, he hears like a whistling,
yeah.
whirring train coming sort of sound, and this silver ball is flying through the air, and he ducks just in time as it whizzes past him.
I have a note from my doctor. I can't have balls flying at my face, so I have to sit out of gym.
I just the silver balls in Phantasm. I'm just so excited for you to see long legs.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. All right.
And listen, it's not what you think about any of that. It's
Okay.
just
Just
metal
keep that
balls. Just
tuck that away into your peripheral brain. Yeah.
the question that I am going to have for you is how do metal balls work? And I have it
Oh
in this movie
no.
too. Um,
Well,
well,
I see in this movie, it makes perfect sense to me. Like it again, it's a very Dune like we don't know it's alien yet, but it
yeah,
has this like alien physics
yes,
kind of thing. This is clearly not something that somebody made in their shop.
hmm,
In this, I think in the same way that like the equivalent to me is the puzzle box from Hellraiser.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that is very like, interdimensional hellscape. This is interdimensional spacescape.
yeah,
So like it makes sense that this is something that defies gravity, defies physics, it moves when you don't think it's going to move, it moves in a way that you don't expect it to. I'm awesome with that. Like, and
yeah.
then as soon as that thing
Agreed.
attaches itself to the dude's head,
Uh-huh.
which I knew was going to happen,
Yeah.
what I did not know was going to happen is that a drill would come out.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that seems bad. And then a like single water fountain stream of blood
Uh-huh.
is going to come out of that silver ball. I was gagged. That made me go,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah. Silver balls and Phantasm make me say, wow.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think maybe the question that I have isn't how do silver balls work? It's what that silver ball doing?
Yeah. What,
Because
yeah.
like,
Where's that blood coming from?
why does it need to s suck all the blood out of the head and then spit it out the back? Like, couldn't it just drill in and wouldn't that
Sure.
kill the person?
Maybe
Or
that's how they make the Jawas.
maybe.
Like they suck out some of your fluids
Oh, that's
and
true.
then squish you down.
Yeah, that's true. Um, you know, marble is mostly easy to clean. You
It's
just don't
pretty
want
easy to
any kind of
clean.
acidic thing on it. You just can't
Yeah,
get citrus on
just
marble.
squeegee that
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I do love this shot of like this dope as fuck death scene. And
Uh-huh.
then
Because
Mike
this is the
then
caretaker catches Mike, and then Mike
yeah,
ducks just in time,
yeah.
and it's the caretaker who gets the ball to the head.
And then Mike then pulls the knife out of his pants. I was like, dude, a little bit late on that one. A little bit late on the uptick there, but all
Yep.
right.
We also have the additional thing of like Mike hiding for a second as this man drops down. I do like this as a gross out horror add on. After
Yeah.
the caretaker gets killed by this ball, His body is collapsed to the floor. We only see it from the waist down, laying on the ground. His feet are like twitching every so often,
Yeah.
and then we see like just urine
A
pooling
puddle of
around.
urine.
Yeah,
Which is why I was like, maybe he's an alien. Because that's not blood. But it makes much more sense that he, because
I think
people
it's
die
urine,
and
and I think
yeah.
the idea, my guess, watching it this time when I was thinking about it's clearly like a good gross out of like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
I think most people sort of understand the way at death there are a few things that can
Your
happen.
body lets go
Your
of
body lets
stuff.
go of stuff. Yeah, it evacuates things, and it's not that it's pushing it out. It's just that all of your sphincters
Yeah.
relax,
They just let go.
and I think that there's something very like dry, boring, gross, and scientific about that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's another way of thinking about death and the twitch. That was the other thing is like muscle spasms.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It just that scene struck me more than just plain gross out this time.
And it's interesting that, we've established Mike as this kid who is sort of shielded from death, like wouldn't even like saw his parents in the coffin or saw his dad in the coffin, and it just seeing the dead body like gave him nightmares for weeks. So now he's like becoming he's been inside a coffin.
Yeah.
He's in the mausoleum. He's experiencing death at a very intimate level.
Yes.
Like not just the like flowers and ashes to ashes, dust to dust, sort of the churchy side of death, but like the nitty gritty of the process.
Yes. Well, here comes the tall man. We have a brief, like, slow showdown as they're kind of like
I love
slowly
this.
walking to each
No,
other.
it's like they're doing a mirror exercise.
Yeah.
Like Mike takes a step, the tall man takes a step. And it's this, it's like Sergio Leone, like Western
Uh-huh.
tension because we don't quite know. Mike doesn't quite know what the tall man is. We know he is bad,
Yeah.
probably, and something other preternatural, supernatural, something, but we don't know what his MO is. And so this moment of like it's like, being confronted by like a bear in the woods or something. Like you're like, what do I do? The bear is also thinking, what do I do?
Uh-huh.
So it's not quite the like unstoppable evil that is Freddy, or excuse me, that is Jason, that is Michael Myers. It's different.
Yeah.
It's a bit alien. It's a bit unknown.
And Mike bails on this showdown quickly when
He's
he
like, fuck
sees
that,
it.
I'm out of
He's
here.
like,
Yeah.
nah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And he makes it to the basement just in time and slams the door shut on
Oh my
the tall
God.
man's hand. And we just
I
see his
love
fingers
the
wriggling in
hit.
the doorway. And he takes out his knife and chops those fingers right on off.
Yeah.
And it bleeds yellow blood.
It's yellow blood.
It is French's mustard
Which
coming
I
out of
guess
that.
is like good that like it's interesting. Like we have this sort of the urine, which is now like, okay, clearly this is different.
Yeah.
This is very different.
Yeah. Because it's the urine looked like it was
It's like,
watery.
but yeah, this is
Yeah.
like banana pudding,
Yes, yes. It's yeah, it's very custardy.
fake banana pudding, like fake banana flavor
Yeah.
dye.
Borderline turmeric in its color.
Yeah.
It's sitting there.
And
They
good for him. He takes one of those fingers, puts it in his jean jacket pocket.
uh-huh. And gets chased out by the Jawas out of the house and runs home.
I also love the fact that the Jawa like gets one of his shoes.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be more of a plot, but it's like I don't know. I like it because like score one, Mike takes the tall man's fingers.
Yeah.
Score one, the tall man's minion gets one of his shoes.
Yeah.
So like it's a little it's like a little like I take your pawn, you take my pawn. Like it's a little
Yeah.
bit of that.
Yeah.
Have we had the sequence in the town yet?
Oh, yes.
Because that to me that is the only like having seen a million clip shows of horror films and having like kind of seen a third of this movie, I have seen this fucking clip so many times.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was like a little minute ago.
Yeah, it happens a few scenes before this, but yeah, set this scene up.
Okay, so Mike is out, you know, being a teenager, just walking around town, being neglected by his older brother, who's sleeping off a hangover somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And he's walking around town and he sees the tall man walking with a purpose,
Uh-huh.
just fully walking with a purpose. And it like the scene kind of goes into like almost like a slow motion, music swells. And Reggie's there, and Reggie's just unloading his ice cream truck. And he opens the back of the ice cream truck, and this sort of like dry ice fog comes out. And the tall man stops and looks around.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like he's going to look right at Mike. And I think maybe this is right after, because I was like, oh, he knows your smell. He's got your shoe. He knows you're an enemy. He's searching you out, boy. But he doesn't look at Mike. He just sort of inhales
Uh-huh.
and does like ta-da hands, kind of like big jazz hands,
Yeah.
and then keeps on walking.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely before the break-in, before the shoe taking. And
Yes.
it
So
was, yeah, and it captures that fear. Like that's the trope of person at a distance seeing you
yes.
look at them.
Yeah.
And he has a moment where he pauses while he's looking right at
Mhm.
Mike, but then his head starts turning again, and we realize, oh, he never really looked at Mike at all.
No.
And in the
No.
foreground is Reggie digging in the back of his ice cream truck, and you see the steam, whatever, the
It's like the
condensate,
dry ice smoke. Yeah.
yeah, coming out, and that
Mist,
is what's
fog.
rising around him when he takes that big smell.
And now, having seen the end of the movie, knowing that the tall man is from this like hot, dry,
Uh-huh.
Mars-esque planet,
Yeah.
he just wants to stand in front of the refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got that good ice, man.
Uh-huh.
You know, when it's hot outside and you just stand in front of the fridge and you're like,
Uh-huh.
that's all he was doing. Nothing sinister about that.
Back at home, one, Jody wakes up to find Mike asleep on the stairwell holding a shotgun fully
I know.
loaded.
This is great. I mean, again, good storytelling.
Yeah. Like the scene is clunky, as I've used that word several times. It's a little clunky to get across its point, but I love its point, which is I love it when a horror movie has a character who doesn't believe. When they
Mhm.
finally see it, they
I
go,
know
I get
exactly.
you.
Yep.
He opens the box that he's keeping this finger in for Jody. We see a finger in or banana pudding
Yeah.
writhing around completely on its own. And
Yeah.
Jody goes, okay, I believe you.
I believe you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, we could have had this conversation like a minute ago, but like we needed to get to this point.
Yes. So they're like, okay, well, we got to go show somebody this
Let's go to the
box.
cops.
Yeah, let's
What
go
are
to
the
the
cops
cops.
going to do? What is the sheriff going to do?
No.
Come on now.
Yeah. But they Mike goes to get the box upstairs, and when he opens it up again, a crazy fucking fly Muppet.
Yeah, like Peter Jackson level gross out Muppet
Uh-huh.
of a fly that is like the size of a fist gets
Uh-huh.
out. And this is very kind of Peter Jackson, Dead Alive, Meet the Feebles
Uh-huh.
level, because it like flies away. And again, this is all so low budget. Like they're working with what they got. And then it kind of like comes up through the mop of 1979 boy hair that Mike has got, that nest of teenage hair. There's a
Yes.
fly on it, and he gets his jean jacket and he grabs, and they're kind of doing the like it's
The Evil Dead
jerking.
2 Ash fighting his own
Yes.
hand thing.
Yes. But it's also physically impossible, because if that fly was inside, like, what is it jerking? Like, that's not how physics works,
No,
guys.
no, because it can't
That's
get any air under its
no.
wings.
What is it? What is it pulling on?
No.
What the fuck? And then Jody grabs it. Now he's jerking around and he's doing the like dead. Oh my god, this was all a bit silly.
It was so silly, and it's inside Jody's jean jacket, and they managed to take it there to the garbage disposal.
Sure.
They shove it down in there and run the garbage
I was
disposal.
like, in the garbage disposal. Do you know how heard that's going to clean. Do you really want alien fly juice down in your garbage? I don't think
No,
so.
just ruin the jean jacket. It's easier to replace that jean jacket than it is
I'm
a
like, hand me
garbage
a
disposal.
hammer. Hand
Yeah,
me a hammer,
you take it outside and you hammer it.
mallet.
Yeah,
Like you have a shop. Give me a wrench.
drive over it with your
Oh my
Plymouth
God,
Cuda.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it defies all physics because it is jerking a grown ass man around. Reggie
Ah,
comes in. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" They think it's in the garbage disposal. It's dead. Reggie's like, "What are you guys up to?"
it
And
comes
that
back
thing
out.
peeps out again. Oh my God. Comes out. Now they got to do it all over again. And I love that like Reggie's now on the team.
Yes, we are all within like two scenes.
Yeah.
We're all together that something fucked up is going on.
Supernatural ghost hunters or alien hunters or whatever.
So Jody keeps trying to leave Mike at home. This movie
I
never
hate this.
resolves this. Even by the
I
end, the final thing, he
oh,
keeps putting Mike back at the house.
like
Um,
stop splitting up.
yes.
Stop it. And they keep doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, you
I,
guys, you formed the team.
I
You've
think
got a good team.
I
I
think
mean,
by the
granted, this
very
movie
end
does
it makes
not pass.
sense.
I
I think by
guess
the
this
very end it sort of makes sense, but it's not any less irritating to watch it.
stop splitting up. And also maybe this movie is the opposite of the Bechtel test. Maybe throw a couple of ladies in there that do more than just go, ew. Just saying. That's another note
Yes,
we can
it
talk
is.
about.
I mean, I'm very adamant that this is a teen boy movie from
Yeah.
1979. It is.
Yeah.
It is not going to meet very many modern standards
Yeah.
for how to make a movie, but I mean, there's like only one black character, and I
Oh,
didn't even
that is unnamed, and you didn't even know was in the movie until they just had a random jump scare.
and yeah, it's a random jump scare, and it has nothing to do with anything because it's Reggie going back to his apartment,
Thinking he's alone.
and then his like landlady or neighbor or whoever this is
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's, "Oh God, what are you
Oh my
fucking
God, a
doing?"
black woman.
Yeah, it just is very weird.
Yeah. But
Um,
I was like, the fortune teller's granddaughter would have been an awesome friend to like she needed to be throughout this entire movie.
yeah,
She needed to be the sidekick that Mike needed throughout the film.
yeah,
So that way, I don't know, like she's like trying to get him to talk about his feelings and he doesn't want to talk about his feelings. Like that needed to be the fourth
yeah,
of our like sort of alien hunter
yeah,
team.
yeah,
I firmly believe.
yeah. But it is ultimately just a movie about Mike dealing with grief.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be his experience through the world. Jody always making him, you stay at home. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go have a look around. Jody goes to the thing. He gets attacked by a Jawa. Okay. I want to talk for a second about gun safety.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And
This prep
again,
talk.
I am no expert on guns because I've never shot a gun. I've never held a gun, I don't believe.
Okay.
Um, but I do have some healthy fear of guns. I've never gotten close to a bear before, but I have
Sure.
living in a place that has lots of bears.
Yeah.
I've done some reading just to
Yeah.
make sure I
You
am
know it
safe.
just in case. Yeah.
he Jody takes his 45 semi-automatic handgun with him. I think it's the 45. Anyways, he gets attacked by a Jawa that jumps on his back and is like
Oh my
biting at
God.
his neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my thought was he's going to take the gun to shoot it off. Already a problem with holding a gun that close to your
Yep.
own ears and head.
Yes.
But if you were to like press it up against the monster
Yeah.
and shoot, that would be great. What he does do instead is hold the gun from like at arm's length from his
Yeah.
body, pointing it back towards the thing that is on his neck
Yeah.
and shoots it off without killing himself.
No. Not safe. Unsafe.
Hilarious.
And also just like this is where I remember I went to go see like an off Broadway play that a friend of mine was in, who I will
Uh-huh.
not name names. But whenever guns enter a scene,
Uh-huh.
there has to be a, as you said, a healthy fear and respect of the prop, the property, the fake gun,
Uh-huh.
but treat it like it's real.
Yeah.
Like when guns enter a scene, there has to be an element of danger, of you have to up the stakes, like all those things.
Uh-huh.
And in this off-Broadway play, it was like this security guard had this gun and he was just like whipping that thing around, like throwing it on the table like it was a pair, like it was a fucking laundry.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever menace you had that this gun, this prop gun gave you, you just completely destroyed because you reminded us it's just a prop. It's made of plastic. And this scene was very much that of like, dude, you have a gun in your hand. You can't just be like firing that thing willy-nilly at your head, near your head. No.
Uh,
I mean, you could like pistol whip the thing, the
yeah.
Jawa. You could, I thought I was just like, just back up into a wall, man.
Yeah.
just like jog your head back, but don't shoot near. No, don't do that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So he gets out of there. This hearse starts chasing him, but then
Yes.
Mike shows up in the Plymouth and is like,
Because Mike has to follow him everywhere.
yep. And then they get chased by this hearse.
This
Mike
chase
has,
sequence is actually pretty good. This is a pretty good chase sequence, I
it
gotta say.
is,
I mean,
yeah.
I did question. I was like, wait, there's nobody in the hearse? They're like, and we know this because Mike literally says 3 times, it's driving itself.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, it's driving itself. Oh, haunted hearse. Okay, interesting. But how effective is that gun against a non-person car? Like it just, I was like, what? What are you shooting at?
Well,
You're
you have to remember, Cecil, that cars made in the 1970s in movies explode very easily.
unsafe at any speed.
And, and also, if you shoot a shotgun at the hood of a 1960s car or whatever this is,
Plymouth or whatever. Yeah.
the hood will just blow right on off and it
Yeah.
will fly off the road.
Is that real or is that just in the movies?
There's no way that's real. Like, I can't imagine.
I was like, what is happening? I mean, it's a very fun action sequence to
Yes.
watch, but I was like, what are you shooting at, dude? And
Yeah.
of course, Jody being Jody, my least favorite character in this movie, was like,
Uh,
I'm gonna get this mother. I was like, what are you talking about? Who are you shooting? This car is driving itself. Like we have a Christine situation.
yeah.
Code Christine.
But
What
then it
you
turns out the car is not driving itself.
That's right.
So it crashes.
Jawas.
They get out there and they find one of the Jawas was driving. I'm like, how was driving?
It was on a telephone book.
I guess.
It had platform. It had John Travolta platform shoes, Saturday Night Fever shoes.
They unhood this dead Jawa and they find that it is Tommy's face on a tiny body.
Oh, plot point.
So they call Reggie and say, "Bring your truck." And they
Oh my God.
wrap this thing up and put it in the back of the ice cream truck. And Reggie is like, "This guy's not going to leak all over my ice cream, is he?"
Yes,
Yes,
it
he
will.
is. Yes.
As soon as they suggested it, I was like, you took all the ice cream out of there, right? No, you didn't.
No, I mean, that truck is
You're gonna
retired
sell
from ice cream sales now.
you're gonna sell alien blood infected ice cream to children? I hate to say it, but that is the movie I want to watch. Because that is so ludicrous. I was like, dude, you're gonna, do you know how long you're gonna be disinfecting that thing?
Oh my
And it's
God.
dripping all over your ice cream? No, absolutely not.
Unbelievable. Okay, so then we have
And then we
another.
split up again. Let's split up.
Well, before we do have a meeting to start
Okay, no,
with.
that's
And
right.
I
Yes.
do like the let's collect all the information we have.
Yes. Okay, true.
So they're like, well, they are taking bodies, they're killing
Yeah.
people, taking their bodies and crushing them down for some reason to half the size.
Sure.
Reggie's thought is we gotta snag that tall dude and just torture him until he tells us what's up, drive a stake
I
through his heart.
love the 70s lingo.
Uh-huh.
We got to get that mother.
Just can we bring that back? Just calling things mothers.
Mother.
Mother. So then this is where Jody's like, Reggie, you take Mike to brand new character we've never heard of, Sally's. She has
Which
an antique
apparently,
store. Oh,
which apparently there was like this movie was like 3 hours long in the
uh-huh.
original shooting, and Jody had a girlfriend with a work, like it had a whole thing with his job and like girlfriend, and all that shit got cut.
Oh, I see. I see. I see.
So we're now 3/4 of the way through the movie, and we're now meeting this character for the first time. That
Okay.
supposedly we should know who this person is, but we don't.
Sally has a daughter, I think, that looks just like Susie is her daughter, who looks just
Yeah.
like the other blonde teenage girl
Oh
who
my
was the
God.
granddaughter of the fortune teller. Anyways, at the antique store, amongst kind of some creepy faces on various old
Scary
statues, yeah,
antiques.
scary antiques, he finds an old timey photo of a man on a carriage. And when he looks at it, it is the tall man
Yes.
in this like
Love it.
19th century daguerreotype. Yeah.
Yeah, Tucker, like a horse-drawn hearse in
Hmm.
front of the burnt offerings house. So
Yep.
like the tall man has been in this community doing his thing for generations. Love
Yeah.
that. I love that idea of like when you think small town America, you think you're like, oh, this place is so boring. And then like you peel again, very David Lynch, you peel back the facade of suburban America, and then you find like mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So he's in this photo. The photo then moves, and the man and the tall man
Which is
turns his
like,
head right at
do you
him.
think that's real? Or do you think that's like in Mike's mind? Is it because it's a dream?
I think I th- think we can safely assume everything is in his mind,
Sure.
but but maybe not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we can't safely assume that,
Or
given the
does it
very
matter?
very end of the movie, and I think where part two picks up. You know, don't think it's in his mind. I think there's
Okay. There are supernatural things happening in wherever Morningside.
yeah. I gotta think so. We don't get a full explanation of that, but I gotta think there's something there. The tall man is real. We're not gonna make like five movies about this without him being real
Yeah, probably.
to in some dimension. I don't know. It
Yeah,
might
yeah,
just be
yeah.
like a overlapping dimension sort of thing. But this is like, you got to take me home. I got to get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
So
Reggie.
get in the back of our VW bug.
Yep. Well, we see a quick clip of Reggie driving his truck back to meet
Yeah.
Jody, and we hear the monster crawling around in the back.
Scratching around.
Sally and Susie drive Mike back to his house in their VW
Sally and
bug.
Susie. Sally and Susie. These are most 70s names.
Oh, and
Reggie, Sally, and Susie.
yeah. And they find the Reggie's ice cream truck
I
overturned, and the
know.
lock on the back is busted, and inside there's just yellow blood everywhere.
Yep.
And open the ice cream boxes. I'm like, yeah, it
Ugh.
ate the ice cream.
Reggie, you're fired.
Not the best like care put into these women characters here, because
Yeah.
they're like, what are those weird figures coming at us? What's happening? Just drive, get out, get out. Well,
Just
that's
drive.
weird.
Yeah.
What are they doing? Let me
They're
open the
trying to
door and
get
see. And he's
in.
like,
Here, let
no,
me
gotta
open the
fucking
door.
drive. But they don't, and the things attack them, and
It's like
it's
one attacking the girls in front, one's attacking Mike in the back.
mm-hmm. Mike gets thrown out the back window, which is amazing given how small those windows are on VW bugs.
That and like, dude, his head like bashed that windshield open and then gets like catapulted back. What?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, I guess so. I was even more amazed when the car just drives away.
The, these Jawas being like 2.5 feet tall are
They're
incredible at driving.
they're really good. I was
Yeah.
like, but the way it's shot, I was like, are the girls driving
Yeah.
away? So okay, so we've got like a girl driving the car when there's a Jawa on each. What in the world is happening? WTF?
WTF is absolutely right.
And then there's some sort of like psychic mind link between Mike and Jody here that again I kind of like.
Yeah.
Like all this let's split up and like all get into different calamities. It's a little bit threadbare for me.
Yeah.
But this whole thing of like Mike is like laying on this like in the middle of the road and he's kind of passed out and Jody is back at home just sort of staring at the ceiling, not doing fuck all anything. But they're having this sort of like, and then all of a sudden Jody is having a sort of waking dream about the
Hmm.
tall man.
Yeah.
Again, very dreamlike, very surreal. Enjoy that. More of
Yeah.
that.
So when he gets back home, Mike tells Jody that they got Sally and Susie and Reggie. And Jody's like, I'm going to solve this. No more you. I've got to keep you
Oh,
away.
Jesus.
I wasn't as bothered by that as you are, but it is a thing where it's like, I see why they're being like this,
Yeah.
but that horror trope of not sticking together is
Yeah.
the most
I
aggravating.
was like, you literally just gave him a shotgun. Stay here. Keep all the doors locked. It's not what this is
Yeah.
not like I don't think you'll understand the severity of the situation if you're just like, close the shutters,
Yeah. I
be
think
real quiet.
Jody's thing though is he's not thinking about Mike's safety. What he's thinking about is not wanting Mike to interfere
He's
with his manly, fatherly, patriarchal duty to protect the
well, I was gonna
house
say he's trying to keep Mike out of harm's way by cloistering him, just stay put, stay in your room.
and out of his way because he's so tired
Yeah.
of fucking Mike being around all the guys. Like he's
And
trying to
clearly,
get laid and Mike is fucking there. And you're
and I
like,
mean, honestly, the kind of shot that Jody is, honestly, I wouldn't want to be near him anyway. Because you're likely to kill your brother with a fucking stray bullet.
yeah. Okay. He locks Mike in his room using a technique that
That's the
is
smart.
less physically plausible than the flying silver balls.
Yes.
He closes the door and then just
Like
jams a
wedges. Yeah.
screwdriver into the jam. And it takes Mike. Mike has to invent a
Yes.
device
By
using
taping a tack or
a
a
shotgun
tack
shell.
to a shotgun shell and then scotch taping. Again, this is the most 13-year-old boy. Like, what can we MacGyver,
Uh-huh.
Goonie, like so now you've got like a incendiary device, I guess.
Yeah.
You're gonna blow a hole in your door.
Uh-huh.
This is like the kid that lived in my house that made all my doors. This is what this kid was doing
Yeah.
in
I don't know if
probably
you,
in 1979 before I was born.
I don't know if you clock this or not. I did this time. I hadn't seen it in the previous viewings of this, but when he's stomping or Mike's stomping around inside of his room, we see his door closed,
Yeah.
and down in the lower part of the door, there's a hole kicked into the door.
I did
And
see
it's
that.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
so teen boy to have
Yeah.
like a piece of drywall that's punched
Yeah.
through because
That
you've
you've just like
filled with
yeah.
so much testosterone that
Absolutely. Also, if you watch this movie, this set falls apart all the time.
the banisters.
The banisters, dude, multiple scenes. Jody's picking up Mike. The banister gets kicked out of the way. 10 minutes later, they're fighting a fly against all physics. The banister falls away. I was like, y'all, I hope you got the deposit on this house.
Oh my
Or
God.
whoever's auntie, uncle let them borrow their house for you to shoot your little movie in. I hope that you did some damage repair.
Yeah. 3 stars Airbnb. Yeah. Jesus
Can you
Christ.
imagine? I've actually heard this from living in New York City. People were like, if a film ever wants to shoot at your apartment, say no.
Uh-huh.
Say no. Because like you're gonna have like 20 people, equipment, tromping in, like they're gonna move all your furniture, they're gonna push everything, like everything is gonna be if at the very least up like put out of place, at the very most, holes punched in the wall. Like it's just it's very invasive
Yeah.
shooting things in a house. And now you see why.
Yeah.
Because you have fight choreography in which somebody picks up somebody else and they are just knocking the fuck out of walls.
Yeah. Okay, so he manages to make this device. He blows a hole in this door, which I'm
Sure.
telling you, this is the $40 particle board door from Home
Yeah.
Depot. Like not even particle board. These are like hollow doors. They're built
Yeah.
very
Oh, yeah.
lightweight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I don't know how he couldn't get out of this, but he blows a hole in the door, has to reach through, pull the screwdriver out.
Jeffrey, don't you have a window?
Yes, yes. Legally, you have to have a window for it to be a
Just
bedroom.
just crawl out your window, my dude.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway,
Anyhow.
let's get to Morningside for our grand finale here.
Yeah. Tall man kidnaps him, puts him in the hearse.
Oh, that's right.
Mike.
Tall man shows up at his house.
Yeah. He's gonna have to do this twice. Like we
Below.
gotta, yeah.
Oh my
Anyways,
God.
shuffle this deck, y'all. So Mike has a pistol on him
Yeah.
somehow and manages to shoot out the back window, reach around, shoot out the hearse tire, and then jump free just as the whole hearse crashes into a telephone pole and blows up.
Explodes.
Yeah.
Explodes upon impact.
Mm-hmm.
Surely the tall man is dead.
Definitely. Okay. Jody's at the funeral home. He sees that the tomb to his parents' grave is open to his father's thing is open.
Is
And
it?
the
I
and
don't
yeah, and
think
the
so.
coffin is pulled out.
No, I think he pulls it out.
Oh, does he pull it out? Okay. Oh, that's right. He
They
pulled
even
he
because
yeah.
when they're having their meeting, they're like, "Wait, the tall man has been doing this for a while." When they're like, he's been taking our took our friend and made him into a Jawa. Did he do this to mom and dad too? So Jody is checking to see if his dad has been Jawa'd.
And he doesn't open the thing is he
No,
doesn't open his
it's
eyes.
so weird. I
And he just
know.
says, I'm sure he's in there, and he closes the thing back up and runs off.
Well, it sounds like we got to. It sounds like we need to do some like grief intervention for this
Both
family.
boys need some kind of
Grief
therapeutic
counseling.
intervention. Yeah, some kind of
Yeah.
counseling. Okay. Mike shows up looking for him, and then that silver ball is coming right at Mike, and Jody steps up with the shotgun and blows it the damn hell away.
Yeah, shotgun, not really a precision weapon.
No, but effective for a device like this because it's buckshot.
Okay. Okay.
So
All
you're
right.
going to hit
All right.
a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Because his
so
aim is real good.
yeah, and when it's that close to you, you don't have
It's
to.
just
The great thing about a shotgun is you don't have to be great at aim.
yeah. You don't. It just goes blah splat.
Yeah. So they go find the door, and then Reggie shows up,
Reggie shows up.
and Reggie's like,
I didn't trust Reggie because
right,
his story sounded implausible.
and it is implausible, but it is real to the arc
It
of
is
this
apparently
movie.
real.
Yeah,
But
but
I was like, don't trust him. That is an alien. That is an
mhm.
alien wearing your friend's face.
Uh-huh.
I was wrong.
Because his story's like, yeah, I made here, and I've just been hiding in a casket the whole time. I'm like, they kidnapped you.
What?
How did you
What?
manage to?
And then I
Okay,
found some girls and I
I
let
found
them go
Sally
and they
and
just ran away screaming like girls do, going all the way. Okay. All right.
so we're like, okay, well, we know Sally and Susie are fine, and probably the granddaughter of the fortune teller is fine, probably. Anyways, they enter the room, and
Let's enter the
inside
Black Lodge.
into the Black Lodge, and it's just a bunch of black canisters lining
I
the
love
walls.
this.
So one side of the room is all black from these canisters, and the other side is all white from the marble and the two metal poles
Yeah.
sticking up, and there is a deep vibrating, like droning sound in this room.
Vibrations, man.
Yeah. There's like little windows on each of these canisters, and Jody peers in. He's like, they're all dwarves. Like they're all like there's just Jawas like
Yeah.
inside each canister.
Canned Jawa. You know what I like? You know, like if you really want to impress somebody and you bring out the charcuterie board,
Mhm.
bring out a little tin Jawa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, like soaked
Grate
in
on a
like
cracker,
olive oil and
on like a
rosemary.
little olive oil,
Uh-huh.
never in water, always in pressed in oil.
Yep.
A little bit of like on a cracker, maybe a little shmoo, like a little like whipped butter on
Uh,
top, a little salted butter, maybe a little, if you're feeling fancy, maybe some caviar.
yeah. Well, Mike goes to the two metal poles and he finds that you can pass through them. They're a portal.
It's a portal.
He gets sucked into the portal, and inside he sees this rocky planet with a red sky and a line of Jawas hauling these barrels.
Fuck yes.
So
Fuck.
this is
This makes me
what a reveal.
Wow. Like this is so like and it's we've seen Mike's room and it's like he's got the giant picture of like the Earthrise from the moon. We've seen like sci-fi books on his nightstand. This is so supported and such a like reveal.
Yes. But my
Jody sort of catches him by his like belt loop.
yeah, and pulls him back through. So what makes me laugh in every viewing of this is Mike having a full understanding of why everything and how it happens. He's like, they're using them as slaves, and they have to crush the people down into compact bodies because of the gravity and the heat of their planet.
Do they?
What? How did what of what you saw
Huh?
makes you think, one, that they're using them as slaves? All you saw was Jawas carrying
maybe
things.
they like doing
they
it.
might be in the Union. You don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they yeah, who knows? Maybe they enjoy it.
Two, how does crushing them down to smaller bodies have anything to do with gravity or
Yeah, I don't know. Because you were just in that atmosphere and you didn't get crushed down. You seemed okay. You were only there for a few seconds, but I don't know.
Power goes out, and
oh my god, this is literally straight out of Clue. They're like, the light goes out. Oh, scratching.
But it happened before Clue.
It did. I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's just it's such a device. And this is where I'm like, oh, this is so, again.
Yeah.
We just needed something so we can now have the next 5 to 10 minutes of people going, Jody, Mike, Reggie, Mike, Jody, Reggie.
This scene reminds me a lot of like what we do or have done in the Infinite Wrench with the New York Neo-Futurists, which is you play with the device.
Yes.
And you introduce a device. And I think this felt fresh to me given when this movie came out. Sure. And it's a funny, sort of interesting moment. It's a cool device that then is made so much better in Clue 7 years later, or 5 years later, or whatever. Because they take the device and actually kind of perfect it, and they really refine it. Here, the joke is really just the device of lights out.
Lights out.
And people
But then it's like
talking.
3 people. How'd you were in a closed tiny room.
Like 8 by 10 closed room.
8 by 10, like you're in an office closet. The lights go out. There's a Jawa in there somewhere. Yeah, that's distressing. How the fuck did you all lose each other? One of you's outside now?
One of you still in the room? One of you's in the foyer? Like, how did you...
What the hell?
Anyways.
Gentlemen.
Reggie is still stuck in the white room, and he remembers Chekhov's tuning fork, and he places both hands on the metal poles in order to, like, stop the droning.
Please don't stop the music, Reggie.
And it does. It stops the droning, and it upsets the whole fucking system.
All hell breaks loose.
It, like, blasts him away, and then soon, like, there is a sucking of wind from even outside the building into that portal. And it drags
like
all of the
Jawas are getting sucked in. He's trying to claw his way out, even though he's in a room with nothing to grab onto. But you know what? That's fine. Just GTFO.
And he does. He G's TFO.
Yeah, he G's the TFO.
Mm-hmm. And outside, got Mike yelling for Jody, Jody yelling for Mike.
Even though they're like 3 feet away from each other, Jeffrey.
It's all windy.
There's like wind. I was like, it's wind, y'all. This is not what? Mike, Jody. Oh, there you are. You're right next to me. Ha 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 ha.
But Reggie, in sneaking out to find them, Reggie finds the lady in lavender lying on the ground.
Oh.
I like this about the Reggie character beat here, which
He's
is
like, I shall save her.
yes, the other two men that interacted with her, Jody and
Yes.
Tommy, were there to sleep with her.
Yeah.
And here, Reggie is here to just like, I'm just here to help.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got to help you, lady. And she reaches up and stabs him in the gut. And I guess he's dead. Mike and Jody run up to him, and Jody's like, you can't help him. He's dead. Let's go.
I know. I was like, it takes a very long time to die from a stomach wound.
Yes.
It's not pleasant.
No.
It's very painful,
Uh-huh.
but it is fixable if you got him to a hospital. And again, this is why I fucking hate Jody. Jody's like, no, he's gone, man. He's a goner. What?
What
You're
the
fuck you,
shit?
Jody. I don't like Jody.
Bad fucking friend. When people ask, like, why does Ripley save the cat at the end of Alien? You're like,
You know that they're a bad person.
yeah, you know that
Because they even
like
asked the question.
you
You're like, because
save
it's a
things.
yeah.
Yeah. You save
Called,
people, you save your cat, you save your companion, you try.
yeah.
Anyway.
Unless they have an alien impregnated in them, and then honestly, you're gone, man.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there are going to be moments when that choice is
You've been
hard.
bitten by a zombie. Yeah. We might have to put you down.
Yeah. So you can't help him; he's dead. And then they drive away, and then the whole funeral home disappears in a colorful flash.
Which I read was done by the same special effects artist who did the Star Trek special effects. So it's literally
Yes.
just like the transporter.
Beautiful.
Woo, disappears into a shimmer.
My favorite part of this movie is also probably the dumbest part of this movie. We go full like Scooby-Doo here.
Yeah.
Because Jody's like, okay, got to get rid of this guy. Now, there's an old mine shaft over on the edge of town.
What?
We got to just figure out a way to lure him there and trap him in the mine.
It's 1,000 miles deep.
So go inside and look for more ammo. I'm going to go take down all the caution signs that lead up that hill.
God.
This is his plan, which doesn't sound like it's going to work. And it doesn't. The end result of what he wants to happen is going to work. Yes. However,
how they
none
get
of the
there
plan
is a goddamn miracle.
Tall man,
so you hang tight here, close all the windows, because clearly this interdimensional space alien murder machine is thwarted by some double glazed window casings.
And of course, the tall man finds Mike at home. Doors blow open. Boy,
I mean, this is an awesome.
Boy. Yeah,
this is almost an awesome chase sequence. If we had not seen it like 4 times already in this movie.
Yes. And now we're getting into, as he's running away, he's remembering about the fear, like don't fear. Yes. So he's being chased by the tall man. Don't fear. 2 tombstones rise up through the yard. Don't fear.
With his mother and father again.
Yes, mother and father. He steps into like a quicksandy like marsh.
I know you love some quicksand, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Hands grabbing him. Don't fear. Then the lady in lavender with her dagger. Don't fear. So good. And then he makes a mad dash through the woods, and the tall man chases him past the caution abandoned mine up ahead sign that's been hidden.
But it's the abandoned mine is just like a 4x4 trapdoor on top of a hill. What's
just been left open?
What? Where do you all live?
This is before the baby Jessica situation, so we hadn't really been warned about children falling into mine shafts.
My God. And of course, Jody is like, okay, so Mike jumps over the mine shaft. The tall man falls in, but he's kind of like gripping on by like one little grip. Jody, this motherfucker, pushes some boulders.
Yes, he does.
Like wily motherfucking coyote, tumbles down a hill, perfectly aligns with the mine shaft, perfectly misses his brother, who is a foot or 2 away from these like 2-ton boulders. Boulder pops in the mine shaft like a cork.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you how did, and then they're doing like victory arms. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jody has almost killed himself,
Yeah.
almost killed his brother,
Yeah.
almost killed his, literally killed his friend Reggie when he like, they just
Abandoned him.
decided to leave him behind.
Yeah.
Fuck this dude.
But Mike wakes up, and the whole thing is that we see Mike in bed, and he opens his
And he's got like
eyes.
a different haircut.
Yes. And then it's a shot of him and Reggie sitting in
I
the
love,
living room.
I was so confused because I had not known this part. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is happening?
And Reggie is like, yeah, the boulders, this whole story, like, you're just having a nightmare.
Yeah, there's no tall man. You're just so distressed over the death of your brother.
Your parents 2 years ago, and now your brother who died in a car crash.
Oh, so this is like a whole incident in Owl Creek kind of thing here.
Mhm.
Sort of, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. So the tall man is just a dream, and you're going through some shit,
It's
and
all a metaphor for death.
yeah.
It's all a dream sequence.
And Mike is crying, and Reggie says, I know you're scared, but you're not alone, man. I'll take care of you. I know I can't take Jody's place, bro, but sure as hell I'm gonna try. What about if we just went on a road trip? Who knows where? We'll figure it out when we get there, man.
Wow.
And
Road trip. Pack your bags because we're leaving at dawn.
then and then he just starts noodling on his guitar, which the
A
music
chord,
he's like
G chord.
he's riffing on a song while sitting there, and it is clashing so bad
Oh my
with
God, I
the
hate
the
this. I
music
hate
that's
this.
playing underneath. It's like
Hate it.
hurts your
I hate
ears.
it. I hate it.
This remastering, they need to dial his
Yeah.
music down.
I hate being at the beach or the park when there's like multiple music, multiple groups of music playing. That makes
Uh-huh.
me crazy enough. Watching it in a film could not end this scene quick enough.
No. Well, he gets upstairs, he's getting his things together. He looks at a photo, he sees his brother Jody holding an
Oh my
electric
God, with a
guitar and a
crusty
white
little white
poodle.
dog. With a crusty, as Rachel Griffin would say, a crusty white dog. Um, that has clearly not been in this movie at all. I was like, you got to establish a dog. You can't just throw a dog in at the very end and just especially let's go. Oh,
Oh.
did he kill the
Then,
dog? Did Jody die with the dog? Was he buried with the dog?
well, my theory is that Jody is the dog.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And as
He was a dog the whole time.
yeah,
And he bury him in a pet cemetery, and he came back a person
then in
who
the
plays
mirror,
electric guitar and wears bell-bottom jeans.
Mike passes by there's a door mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and as he closes the door, the mirror comes into focus of the tall man standing in
Oh,
his room going, boy. And then hands crash through the mirror and pull Mike through. Credits.
the end.
Shall we rate this movie?
Yes, let's.
Okay, let's talk about approachability first. Like, ooh, I'm going through puberty here. I'm the 13-year-old boy.
What? Did you see
What?
some boobs? You just saw some boobs, didn't
Wow.
you?
Wow.
Wow.
How approachable is this movie if you are horror film averse? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being like not at all approachable, 10 being super approachable for the horror averse. Let's give Phantasm like 6 out of 10 fear is the mind killer boxes. Like, it's got a bunch of jump scares. It's got some splurty blood, some
Yeah.
custard blood.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
not gory though.
but it's not super
There's that
gory.
one gory sequence, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, and I think everything feels very cartoonish, very YA. It is
Yeah. More
I think it's
psychological, more chase. There's a lot of
yeah.
chasing and catching, but nobody's ever in real danger. Like
No.
yeah, like you said, they kind of like figure their way out of it pretty quick.
I mean, I do think if you can handle David Lynch, you can because David Lynch is real big on the jump scare and the surrealness
Yeah.
stuff, and he'll show you some real gory, weird shit
Yeah.
too. And
Yeah.
I think if you can handle Twin Peaks, you're gonna be just fine, and I think you'll do fine. So I like 6 feels like a low score to me. I think it's pretty approachable, but let's go 6. That's Approachability. Just as a horror film, what do you think, Cecil?
As a horror film, this one's quite good. It's been I am glad that I got to watch this film for the first time in its entirety. I'm glad that the sort of twist ending was not spoiled for me. Yeah, I feel like this falls somewhere in between sort of David Lynch surrealism and Friday the 13th unstoppable killer,
Yeah.
chasing after teenagers with crop tops and tube socks.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it falls in that continuum. I love a sci-fi twist of an ending.
Hmm.
Like when it's like, oh, you think it's a killer, but it's really an alien killer? Absolutely, yes. So for
Yeah.
that reason, I'm going to give this 8-star tattoos.
Awesome. Well, let's figure out what movie we're going to watch next. You've got a scare die, I've got a style die. We'll roll those up and see what movie fits those two things. Cecil, on your scare die, if you roll a one, our scare is altered states. Two, technology. Three, a psycho killer. Four, Mother Earth. Five, a conspiracy. Or six, ghosts.
That's a 3.
I get that psycho killer. Okay,
Qu'est-ce que
let's
c'est?
pick a style for psycho killer. If we roll a one, our style is Japanese horror film. Two, it's got to be a 3-word title, exactly 3 words in that title. Three, wild card, whatever psycho killer we want. Four, a giallo film. Perfect. Five, 1960s, something from the 1960s. Or six, an urban psycho killer. All right, let's roll this up. I've also got a 3. That is a wild card psycho
Oh,
killer.
hello, hello.
Um,
I'm going to do one. Here, right.
do one more
Pause the
roll.
recording. Pause the recording.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm going to change one of my answers.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Oh, sure. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so we both wrote down 3 options, and that gives us 6 options. So let's talk about the ones that we chose, and then we'll roll a die to figure out our next movie. So tell me about your 3, Cecil.
Okay, so I put 3 on here. The first one is opera. Now keep in mind, we put this on here. I put some of these on here before we picked Giallos. So I have a
Uh-huh.
couple of Giallos on here because honestly, that's where my mind goes when I think Psycho Killer.
Yeah.
Opera is one of the more fantastical ones. It's sort of a giallo version of Phantom of the Opera. Some amazing deaths in this movie. I also put The Vanishing on
Hmm.
here, which is sort of the opposite of that, in that it's like man and woman, husband and wife are out at a like roadside, gas station kind of thing, and the woman disappears. She vanishes, and the guy is like haunted by her disappearance.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like, as opposed to like most psycho killer movies, it's all about like the chase and the kill. This is like what happens after that, and it's like from the other point of view.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
And then I also put another giallo, but this one's a little more like psychic-y. And it's Deep Red, which is one that I have never seen. This is tops a lot of people's giallos list. And so I thought, something I haven't seen that a lot of people have recommended. So
Yeah,
those are my
that's
3.
those are great. I have some more, a couple of somewhat modern ones, but I kind of pick 3 kind of different eras of filmmaking. So I've got one 1960s Peeping Tom,
Oh
directed by
yeah.
Michael Powell. I've never seen this movie, but this is a classic of the psycho killer genre.
Came out the
Of
same year as Psycho, if
Okay,
I remember
yeah,
right.
and this is a man who kills people with a rigged up camera.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got Peeping
He likes
Tom.
to watch. He
He
likes to watch.
does like to watch. The next one I have is from 2000. This is American Psycho, the adaptation of
Hell
the Bret
yeah.
Easton Ellis novel. Uh, it is
It's
a
been a while
2000.
since I've seen this movie.
I
I'm
watched
ready
it
to watch it again.
a couple years ago, I think, and I think it's pretty amazing. It is 2000 sensibilities about 1980,
Yeah.
and it's super campy.
Satire.
It's
It's so
satire,
satire.
but it's also like campy in that it is gay.
Yeah.
And but
It has
like,
an outsider point of view,
yes.
commenting
And
on the most insider things.
and the New York clubs these boys are going to are amazing.
I mean, honestly, I'll look at Christian Bale's abs
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Finally is a recent film, which was Ty West's X, which is the first
Ooh.
movie of his series of X, Pearl, and Maxine. And
Yeah.
we've watched Pearl for this show. You and I both saw Maxine in the
Yep.
theaters this year. Loved it. Had a lot of fun. And X was the first of these, and that is again another movie like American Psycho that is taking place in a previous time. Kind of follows like 1970s porn filmmakers in Central Texas
Yeah.
that stop on a farm and things go wrong.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay, those are our six movies. Is it your turn to roll, I think, Cecil? Do you want to
Is it
roll
my
us?
turn?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Let's say that.
All right, here we go. That's a two.
We're gonna do The Vanishing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Forgot to renumber these, but yeah. Yeah, Opera, Vanishing, Deep Red, Peeping Tom, American Psycho next. The order in which we said them. So two means we're gonna do
Oh, I love it.
The Vanishing. I'm excited because
An anti-psycho killer movie.
that's so interesting. This is available for rent. It's also up on Criterion right now too. So yeah,
It's been a while
let's
since we've had a good suspense as well, and this is much
yeah.
more of a suspense movie.
Yeah, I like this a lot. This is a movie that's been recommended several times, and I'm excited to get to it. Well, great. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. And if you have thoughts on Phantasm or ideas for other movies that would have been good, like what is your wild card psycho killer movie, let us know on Instagram at randomhorror9 or same address over on Patreon, where we have public discussion threads for each episode, and you do not need to be a paying member to participate in those. So watch The Vanishing from 1988 with us this week, and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no hot chicks knifing you in the gut or nothing. Wow.
Wow.